Child. What's good and what's poppin' YouTube? If you're new here, my name is Kenneth and I make college, beauty, and lifestyle related content. And today I'm going to be reflecting on my first full semester on campus in a pandemic. And guys, it was a roller coaster. So I hope that somebody learned something from this, take something away from this. I hope this is entertaining, I guess, to you. But be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on my post notifications for more content. And without further ado, let's get into this video. All right, and real quick before we get into this video, I want to give a special thank you to the AC Shop company for sponsoring this video. And if you're not familiar with them, it is a woman-owned and Latina-owned brand devoted to making fine jewelry and other accessories and clothing for psychology majors and those who love healthcare or are in the healthcare field in general. So in wearing their jewelry, they want you to live out and understand your purpose. They want to shine light on the importance of education, and they want to spread positivity. So as you know, it's a psychology major that is very much screaming me. So I really do love the items that I've gotten from them. I'm currently wearing the EKG necklace, and this is the box that it came in, but they have a variety of different items, guys. So be sure to check them out if you haven't already, especially if you are interested in those fields. And even if you're not, the holiday season is around the corner, so you can get it for a family member, you can get it for a friend, and you don't want to miss out on those holiday deals. So please be sure to tap in. The link will be down in the description box below. All right, so my initial thoughts when going into the semester, I was a bit nervous, but I kind of had high hopes. There was a lot of negativity and all of that, and yes, reasonable doubt, but I was really just trying to be optimistic. I was trusting in God. No matter what happens, I assumed that everything would still be okay. So I wasn't really sweating anything too much at all. And I kind of was already trying to have my plan B's in order just in case anything happens. So that was kind of that. I just assumed that after a summer and a half a semester doing COVID, I assumed that this semester there would be a little bit more structure and things would go a little bit smoother. But y'all will see what happens after. So now let's talk about the transition back to school, so from home to school. So I arrived to campus end of July because I had to complete my RA training, and that was pretty smooth. It was completely virtual, but we had to be on campus to kind of learn the building that we were residing over and all of that good stuff. So that was that. And then on August 1st, August 2nd, that was when residents started to move in, and they moved back in between August 1st, August 2nd, all the way up until August 9th, because I think classes started the next day. So there was a 6-day, 7-day gap of just absolute nothingness because there were no events or anything planned. There were a few virtual ones, but pretty much no events planned because of COVID, no gathering, all of that. And so we also didn't inform our residents of the rules until the end of that 6-7 day period, because that was when we were told we were supposed to do our floor meetings, which is basically a meeting with your entire floor about the rules and regulations of living in the dorm. So mind you, we have all of these new students coming in, not knowing any rules. So of course, a few days, not even actually, the first night when they got in, they were partying and getting dressed up, going out, doing college things. And so with that, those few days of just going out, not being safe, not wearing masks, by the first day of classes, we were just starting to see a sharp increase in cases, case after case. We would get texts every day just of the first week of just clusters here, clusters there, clusters everywhere, y'all. It was crazy. It was crazy. And the second week, another increase. And I think sometime during the second week, they were already they were telling us we had to go home.
It's time to go!
And then on top of that, we were seeing videos surfacing of just freshmen and other students participating in activities that were very much violating COVID guidelines. So we saw slip and slides and all of that. And then on top of that, we were all over the news because it was such a disaster. Coming back to campus was just such a disaster. We were the poster campus of don't go back to school. It was so bad. So yeah, they pretty much sent everyone home. And fortunately, I got to stay because I was an RA and I had to reside over the residents who did stay. And then also athletes got to stay, of course. So thankfully, I got to stay. Being an out-of-state student, it was such a blessing because I did not have time to be going back and forth. It was just a lot of work. And they didn't really give you a lot of time to even transition back home. But that was pretty much that. So after people left, we didn't really see any more cases, large cluster cases anymore. People probably did still get COVID, but it wasn't as serious. We stopped getting these texts. Everything was good. So now to talk about my academics and just how classes went during the entire fall semester. So it took me a hot minute to get motivated and really start focusing on school, because as I just mentioned, like the first 2 weeks was just filled with complete chaos, y'all. Like it was impossible for me to stay off Twitter at first. Like it was just so bad. And like even for one of my classes, I literally didn't start doing coursework for that class until like 3 weeks in.
Huh?
And please don't do this. Like please don't be like me, y'all, because I had to really work to, get back to where I needed to be. And I didn't miss any deadlines. It was really because the classes assignments were due right before each exam. So like the exam wasn't until like 5 weeks in. So I wasn't that bad, but like it just took me a while to really get into a flow, just coming off of everything that had happened. Talking about my classes though, I only took 4 classes this semester just to kind of be safer rather than sorry. So I was only in like 13 credit hours, like not even a lot at all, but it still seemed like the workload was like never ending, y'all. Like I was still grinding as if I was taking like 6 classes. But the things that pretty much got me through that was like really planning out every single day, y'all, like by time. Like my planner consists is 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. and I would literally write in what I would be doing at that time, because that was really the only way to stay on top of everything that I had to do. Because it wasn't professors in your face, reminding you, telling you what was going on. A lot of emails that sometimes you just miss. It was very much me like writing things down and really like planning my day to a T so that no time would be wasted or unproductive. Like even planning the time in which I took breaks. Like I really had to start doing that. I also became a lot more intentional with my studying. I think before I would just kind of like study, but like not really like doing it with intention. But this time, like I really looked up proven methods that work. So like the Pomodoro method, where it's like 20 minutes on and 5 minutes off, because I really just had to like really get into that flow. And just also changing my scenery. So like going into campus and doing work, just going somewhere and doing work, going to my friends' apartments and doing work, like changing my scenery up, because those are really the things that got me through. But like overall, my professors were also pretty understanding. I didn't have any professors that were like extremely hard at all. They all seemed to be pretty understanding, and like I was in a very fortunate position where I didn't really need to have like any extension or anything of that sort. So like the semester was overall pretty decent, but like I did have to change a lot of the things and the habits that I had in order to be successful with this semester. And then one more thing. So one thing that I didn't like, and I think this just has to do with like Carolina as a whole, was just the fact that they moved our pass-fail deadline from being after the entire semester ended to before we took our final exams. And the issue with that, like a lot of people be like, okay, like that makes sense. But like the issue with that, y'all, was that last semester we had days to study. So like we call them reading days. We have about 3 or 4 reading days to get ready for our final exams. But this semester, they took those reading days away. Like Tuesday was the last day of classes, and then exams started Wednesday. So as I'm grinding, trying to finish out all of the work that I have for my classes, I'm also studying for finals at the same time. So you see where like that's hard, and then just everything happening in the world. Like it was just so much, y'all. So that was the only thing that really like irritated me about the semester. And I didn't pass fail any classes because I didn't foresee myself getting anything lower than a C, but it was just a lot. It was just kind of like, why would y'all do that to us? So that was the only thing that really blew me about this semester. But overall, it was okay. Like it was hard, it was rough, but I really tried to power through it. With work and just being an RA, there were times when being an RA was very beneficial and was such a blessing, but then there were also times where it's just like, child. So for example, when we got to stay on campus, that was so beneficial, especially for me being out of state, like I mentioned. But then one of the cons, I guess, with being RA was with students, it was like a one and done type of thing. So like they were sent home and then they knew that they would be home, or they stayed and they would just stay and that was it. Like with RAs, it was like we were here, but then it was just like something would change, and then something would change, and then something would change, and then something would change. So it was like a lot of different constant changes, just a lot of different things. And sometimes the changes weren't always the things that we wanted to hear. So yeah, that was that. And another thing that was tough was like when residents were here, they were constantly asking me questions that I didn't know the answer to. So then I would ask my supervisors, but then my supervisors wouldn't know the answers to them either. So it was just kind of like a lot of getting questions, asking questions, not really getting responses. And timing sometimes too was not the best. Like they would tell us things later than we would have liked to hear them, or like later than when would have been necessary to know. So like just a lot of different things. But one of the worst moments I think of this semester and just having my job was, so basically as an RA for the building that I lived in, we had a free meal plan. And I had this meal plan for a month. Everything was smooth, everything was cool. And then we come to this one staff meeting, and they basically tell us that our meal plans are getting revoked because we couldn't do some of the duties that we were required to do as RAs because of construction that was going on. Like literally nothing that was our fault. They basically revoked our meal plans, and we had about 2 or 3 days to figure out how we would eat and what we would eat for the rest of the semester.
What?
And the icing on the cake of that was there was no kitchen available in any of the nearby areas in the building I was in, nowhere near.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
We had to figure out how we would live and eat like for the rest of the semester, and it was just crazy. But they ended up coming up with an alternative for us to kind of eat in the dining hall. They came up with like a lot smaller meal plans, so we were able to still kind of eat. And even that though had its ups and downs, just like, you know, there was a lot of regulating how much food we took, just a lot of different things on that end of the inspection. I was just like, okay. But yeah, so that was one of the worst things that happened. But I think so there were also some really good things that came out of it. So like I got a really great group of RAs that I got to work with. My supervisors were great. They were all really caring, and I really did feel like I had a support system when I needed it, especially with just everything that was going on. So like I think that was definitely a gain. And I also do give Carolina Housing the benefit of the doubt, just in the fact that like a lot of things were uncertain. It is a pandemic. Like nobody really knows what's gonna happen next. So like I was never like upset, but it was just kind of like just the constant changes. It was just kind of a disruption to like my academics a little bit and just everything of that nature. But yeah, we move. In circumstances where you just never know what's gonna happen, it's so important to really be intentional with your mindset and just how you look at a situation. Like you can look at the glass half full, or you can look at the glass as half empty. So I decided to look at it half full, and I think that really is what saved me from a lot of breakdowns and all of that stuff. So now to talk about like my personal life and just other things that happened with the semester. So I guess first talking about the COVID scare thing in my thumbnail. So I was an RA over a freshman dorm, and of course freshman dorms were one of the places that had a lot of cases, and I was in a dorm that, you know, had a lot of cases. And so that just affected so many things for me, y'all. Like there was a weekend, and this is when everybody was still here. I was supposed to have a little get together with like a few friends, like nothing crazy. And like we just started seeing these texts popping up in my building that people had it, y'all. And it was just so crazy. And like my friends were just like, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna stay over here. And like, so I did decide to go get tested, and then I was sent to a hotel, and I wasn't even told that I would have to go to a hotel while I waited for my test results. Like, and that's just a whole nother story in itself. But it was just so scary, y'all. But like I ended up being completely negative. I didn't really interact with anybody in my building because everything I did was virtual. I had my own room, my own space, so like thankfully I was unaffected. But y'all, it was just so scary, like so scary to be in it, and just seeing us all over the news, and it was so bad, y'all. But we powered through it, and everything is good now. I did keep to my little circle of people. I did like see my friends. We would either just like, I would just go visit them in their apartments, or we would just go out to eat or something like that. And those were the little things that kind of kept me going, just like looking forward to the weekend and seeing a friend or two or something like that. It's always really nice and was very beneficial for my mental health. As you guys saw my dorm tour, I had a dorm to myself, so like being alone all the time gives you a lot of time to overthink. And so it's just always nice to see my friends. And I call people all the time. I was talking to my mom every day, talking to my sister every day. So like those things were the things that really helped me with being on campus and kind of being by myself. And again, just going out, taking walks. Like y'all, I was never the type of person to take walks or do anything like that, but I had to start doing it every day just to get some fresh air and just, you know, not go crazy. I really prioritize my me time. I plan that into my schedule, whether it be having to take a nap, watching a movie, devoting time to YouTube, like things that I really like to do, praying, getting into the word, stuff like that. So yeah, my spiritual life as well just came a long way over just this semester as well, just being alone and, you know, having that time to really just reflect on life and everything of that nature, y'all. So definitely a lot of reflecting this semester. So now for the school shooting that I also alluded to in my thumbnail. So it was October 30th, Friday, and I had just finished my 9 a.m. class. It was a very normal day. It's about like 10:15 or something. And I was chilling, getting ready to actually leave my building and go into campus, to main campus, to do some homework. And then as I'm getting ready and literally about to walk out the door, I get a text from Alert Carolina saying that there's an armed shooter on our campus. I stopped dead in my tracks. I was like, what? Like, huh? And my phone starts blowing up with texts from off-campus friends, family members. The group chats that I'm in for class and non-class related group chats are blowing up. I called my mom because I was so terrified. Like, keep in mind, my room is almost completely in view of the window that's in it. So it was only like one small corner for me to go into, just hide and stuff. So I grabbed my books, I grabbed my laptop because I still had work to do. So I grabbed all of that, went to the corner, like I said a little prayer, and then I kept grinding because I just couldn't sit up here and like dwell on worries and stuff. I just prayed that everything would be good and just kind of kept it pushing. And so I'm waiting for updates and stuff. And we get another update saying that now the armed shooter had moved from being near the hospital to now being near one of like the major campus residences at UNC. So like a lot of people that I knew lived there, were currently living there. And I'm just like, bro, I started texting all of my friends who lived there. One of my friends didn't respond, and that scared the mess out of me. Like, I was so terrified. And another one of my friends responded, and she was telling me that she was like scared out of her mind, like was shaking, like was scared, and she was the only one in her apartment at the time as well. So I'm like trying to do everything I can to comfort her, like telling her I'll pray for her, offering to stay on the phone with her, all of that, because I couldn't even imagine how she felt, just knowing that some danger could be so close to her. I'm doing all of this and stuff, and like about 20 minutes later, we get a text saying, all clear, resume normal campus activities. And I'm just looking like, and everybody's just like, y'all just gave almost the entire school a panic attack and then tell us to just continue to resume our days as is and not even tell us what even happened to the shooter, if the shooter was arrested, like what happened, like nothing, guys. And come to find out too, like there were professors that continued to have class regardless of all of the nonsense that was going on outside of class. It was just like the insensitivity was just crazy. And like even in the following days, in the coming weeks, and still to this day, nobody knows who the shooter was, what happened, if anybody was harmed. There were no updates given. We were just told to just continue life as is after raising all of that alarm and like not even giving a reason, any closure, nothing. They handled that situation just so, what? Like, why would you do that? So maybe it was a false alarm, I don't know. A lot of people think it was fake, but yeah, that was pretty much what happened with that. But overall, again, I count my blessings. It was pretty good, but there were some times where I was just like, God, I don't know. So yeah, all right, y'all. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Just to reiterate some of the major takeaways, just take time for yourself, however that may be, whatever that may look like. Just be very intentional with your planning, with your schedule. I got into a routine, and that really kept me on my grind, and I really liked that. But that was what worked for me. So you just have to really find what works for you and what will get you through the semester. If y'all have any questions or comments or anything, just be sure to leave those down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, all of that, and I hope to see y'all in the next video.